Alright, time for this dumbass wasted time with CG. Community questions and answers. Most of these are going to be very dumb questions, and the other half is going to be dumb answers, so let's get it though. Is the Chieftain going to be a marquee character in line with some of the others, or is it something different, like a galactic chase? Obviously he's a marquee. Will we see a new version of Boba Fett to reflect what we saw in the Book of Boba Fett? As with any character we add to the game, not only should they be visually distinct from other versions of that character, but they should also have an obvious hole they're trying to fill, or initially create when we add new factions. Some characters fit the former more than the latter, and vice versa. Great answer. You did not address any of that at all. You didn't mention the name Boba Fett, you didn't talk about the show, you said nothing. Does no character that summons at the start of battle include Tusken Raider with the Omicron? Not only does this include Tusken Raider with the Omicron, but even if the Omicron tier is not purchased due to limitations of the way our game works. Oh, I read that wrong. I got hyped like they were going to say, but even if, like there was more. That actually was it. So it should have been more like, not only does this include Tusken Raider with the Omicron, but even if the Omicron tier is not purchased. Basically, a character that summons is any character that has the capability to summon, whether that ability is unlocked or not. Why are the new Tusken units dark side aligned instead of neutral and switching the others to fit? The show didn't portray them as evil, but just trying to keep of hold on their stolen lands. Our game requires certain alignment concessions for things like balancing. Star Wars has expanded to embrace a more nuanced view of dark versus light alignments in more recent years, and it can be difficult to reconcile with that stark distinction in our game. I mean, they do have a good question there, because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that you guys have either aligned as light side or dark side, when really they should just be considered neutral, like Hondo. For example, Wampa. They put Wampa on dark side. Wampa's just an animal. He's not light side or dark side. Like, he's just a creature living on a frozen, snowy crap planet. And the only reason he's considered dark side is because he attacked Luke. But Luke is like an invader on his planet, and he was within his area. Maybe he was encroaching on his home, so the Wampa was just defending himself / his home. Also, since Wampa's a creature, maybe he wanted to eat Luke. He's just hungry, he's trying to survive. That doesn't make him dark side. It just makes him in the wrong place at the wrong time. It makes both of them in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or who else isn't specifically light or dark? Like, all the scoundrels really aren't light or dark. You know, light side or dark side depictions just depend on who we've seen them work with. Like, for example, Bosk and Boba Fett and IG-88 are considered dark side because we saw them in the lineup for Vader to go after, who was he going after? Was that Han? Yeah, to go find Han. So that made him dark side, because we called Han light side because we see him working with Luke and Obi-Wan and all them. But is Han really light side? No, he's a guy who's in it for himself. He does whatever's in his own best interest. So if working with Luke in that moment was his best interest, he did it. I mean, look, he's got Greedo coming after him for money that he owes Jabba. Well, Jabba's considered dark side because he's a crime lord. So Han's not really light side. But then again, like I said, Bosk and all them aren't really dark side. They just do wherever the money is. You know, Vader put up a bounty, so they apply. So anyways, I say all that because, one, I understand this person, where they're coming from. Essentially, Tuskens aren't really light side or dark side, you know what I mean? They're just like humanoid creature type things that live in the desert. It doesn't make them good or bad, they're just them. But we consider them dark side because we see them attack Luke, and we see, you know, other instances like that. So, yeah, dark side. Not really. Anyways, the other thing is, I feel like their answer was kind of stupid. Star Wars has expanded to embrace a more nuanced view of dark versus light, and blah blah blah. It can be difficult to reconcile. No, it couldn't. You've had the neutral tag in the game forever, literally, and they finally put Hondo under it. Like, you can add more to the neutral. You don't have to come up with dumb excuses. Why is Boba Fett, Scion of Django, not eligible for participation in the new raid? He is meant to work with the Chieftain's Omicron, which is not active in the raid. What? Why is Boba Fett, Scion of Django not eligible for participation in the new raid? They're talking about the dragon, right? What the heck was that dragon called? I'm drawing a blank. But what was Chieftain's Omicron for? That's like 3v3 Grand Arena, right? What does that have to do with a raid? Since Tusken Chieftain seems to have no offense abilities, base or special, what happens when he's on his own / all his allies are defeated? Retreat mechanic. He remains on the field as he can still defeat enemies via damage over time, so he didn't feel that the pacifist status suited him. Yes, somebody already said that in the comments on the kit reveal. Basically, even though he doesn't have an attack or anything, he still is launching his damage over time crap out there. So he's kind of like that Jawa who the only move is to throw a thermal detonator. You might say he's not really attacking, but he's still putting a thermal detonator which will explode and cause damage. So that Jawa doesn't just, have a pacifist mechanic. So it makes sense that Tusken Chieftain doesn't either. Special one states that it reduces all Tusken cooldowns by 1. Does that cooldown decrease include this ability as well? Correct. Does momentum get dispelled from all Tusken allies after one Tusken with 10 stacks gets targeted by enemy, or just that targeted Tusken's momentum stacks? It's only dispelled from the targeted Tusken. Okay, that's good to know. That's a decent question right there. One good question so far. Why does it specify that Boba Fett can't lose stacks of momentum in other ways besides expiration if expiration is the only way he can lose it? What? What? Why does it specify that Boba Fett can't lose stacks of momentum in other ways besides expiration if expiration is the only way he can lose it? That is a confusingly worded question. What are you saying? Why does it specify that Boba Fett can't lose stacks of momentum in other ways besides expiration if expiration is the only way he can lose it? What? The Omicron states that Scion counts as a Tusken, and Chieftain's leader states that Tuskens can lose momentum when attacked. Scion does not lose momentum when attacked. Okay, I guess good answer. The question, I'm still trying to figure out what the heck that means. Are Tuskens getting an assault battle of their own like Inquisitors? Tuskens will be added as a playable faction to the Inquisitors' assault battle. Oh, okay. So it's going to be a dually. Kind of like the one... Which one is that? I don't know. The one that has Phoenix also has Night Sisters. So this one's going to be Inquisitors and Tusken. If you can say, what was the deciding factor that now was the best time to add more Tuskens after all these years? It's quite exciting. Yeah, I know, that's what I've been saying a million times. Tuskens have been like a 3-man team all along, and now finally 7 years later, how long has Book of Boba been out for? A year or two? Now they decide to finally do this. Like, it's just kind of weird and random. But anyways, they say, we had this really cool Crate Dragon raid coming out, and it felt like a place in the game where we could let Tuskens shine and focus on rounding out their faction. So it took you to come up with a new raid to decide to finally fill out the Tusken faction? Okay. Can we expect any 5v5 Gak Ami to use the whole faction there? The 5 Tusken faction will be extremely useful in the Crate raid, so the team will have utility outside of Grand Arenas. Okay, so you said no without saying no, but that's fine because you explained it. No, there's not going to be any use for them in a 5v5 Grand Arena, but it's because we want them to be used in Crate, so it won't be a waste of your time to work on them. They will have use elsewhere. Got it. Any chance for a Whaaatt in the future? He's an extremely interesting character that has versions that slot into a lot of different areas. Thanks for the suggestion. Okay, so originally it was no because I didn't think of him. But then when you said that, they were like, I don't know who a Whaaatt is, so I can't weigh in, but hey. Will Tusken Raiders 3v3 Omicron work with Chief Tusken Omicron? Since Chieftain's Omicron specifically says there is no other character that summons at the start of battle, Tusken Raider's summoning ability will mean that Chieftain's Omicron will not turn Boba Fett, Sign of Jango, into a Tusken. Makes sense. Basically self-explanatory, so I'd say good answer, but like I said, it's also kind of self-explanatory. I'm not saying that it's obvious, I'm just saying since that Omicron says, doesn't summon, kind of tells you right there your answer. What is the new Tusken Squad expected to be? Teams that gain a lot of bonus turn meter are exactly what the new Tusken Squad has been designed to counter. Yes, so that's like Bad Batch and stuff. Will you be doing all lowercase? Any updates or reworks on the original 3 Tuskens? The current Tuskens are performing very well in 3v3 Grand Arenas, so we don't want to go in and muck about with their power levels at this time. All balance testing for Chieftain was done with the current Tusken's ability and power level taken into account. Chieftain himself acts as sort of an update to the older Tuskens simply by being in the leader slot. That's kind of true. However, you're saying that they're performing very well in 3v3. First off, who's using them in 3v3? I've never seen a Tusken team in 3v3 in either of my accounts. So, who's using them? Second off, the original 3 do suck. Is very terrible. And then Tusken Shaman is, he's super mid. He's like a healer, but like it's ridiculously mid. The only one that's okay, and you can make him a little better with offense mods and all that, is regular Tusken Raider. He's the only one that hits kind of decently. And then now with his Omicron to have a summon, that helps as well too. But otherwise, what? Like, you're talking about how they're performing very well. Highly doubt that. 1, nobody's using them, and 2, they do suck. Jeez, you could probably have a whole team of Relic 9s and they're still gonna be like pretty half-assed. Anyhow, there it is. The Chieftain stupid Q&A. I suppose it wasn't as bad as what I'm used to. Normally they put really dumb questions in here, and it's like, why did you waste your time? Nobody's learning anything from that stupid question. Or they give really dumb answers, and it's like, again, nobody's learning anything from your stupid half attempt at an answer. But this was okay. They had a few, they had a good amount of serious questions. They had serious answers. There was only a couple of questions that were actually pretty dumb. This first one was pretty dumb, and this second one, they didn't even give an answer at all. They just gave words, and so there you go. Hopefully the person's stupid enough to accept that. But anyways, yeah, that's it. If you check this out with me, thanks a whole bunch, and until next time, I said see ya.